All right, good evening, everyone. It's another beautiful Saturday, Friday evening. I hope the week was not so stressful. So, yeah, welcome to another Twitter space from Flickle. Our Twitter handle is that car fixer on Twitter. So, hope the week wasn't so stressful. Hope it went perfectly well as you wanted it to. And if it didn't, I mean, you have another week to come next week and you can make do with what you left. All right, my name is Joshua Ikenye Mercury. I'll be your host, and I have myself Anita. I popularly call her Anita Liza, but yes, Anita will be joining me today. Welcome, Anita.
Thank you, Joshua. Good evening, everyone. Good to have you here again in our Twitter space where we have conversations around everything that happens in the automobile space. And as usual, today's Twitter space promises to be very exciting, interesting, and most importantly, interactive, educating to at least at the end of the day, we'll have at least one or two take homes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Anita. All right, so straight off, we'll be talking about, I'll be dropping the topic of discourse. As we all know, it is navigating your way on Nigerian roads, the unsaid road laws. I'm come to think of it, I'm sure majority of us, or a handful of us, have probably driven a car or have been driven in a car, or in a particular kind of vehicle in Nigerian roads. And then there are some laws, there are some regulations that need to be followed. I mean, there's a popular saying that without law or without law and order, chaos would be the order of the day. So it's important that all these rules and regulations are followed. Now, notwithstanding, there are some rules and regulations that have to do with the road. Yes, yes, there's some rules and regulations that have to do with the road, and some of all these things are things that we'll be talking about. Some of them we know, some of them are unspoken or unsaid rules that happens that a lot of people just know. They are not just written, but we just know. And then there are some rules that we do not know at all. But all these rules exist, and I think those are the places that we need to really focus on. And we should make sure that we are very attentive because I promise that we promise that this Twitter space is going to be quite educative, for majority of us that would like to drive in Lagos. As much as Lagos tries to drive you crazy, but try to drive in Lagos. All right, so straight off, yeah, that was just like pretty much an intro. So welcome everyone. This is Flickle Podcast or Flickle Twitter Space, um, where we talk about things that has to do with automobiles, things that has to do with driving, things that has to do with cars, vehicles, and the automobile industry. Yes. So straight off, I would be opening the floor to giving my co-host Anita to start off with the unsaid road laws. Anita, over to you.
All right, welcome again, guys. Welcome. So, in addition to what the host has said, while there are unsaid road laws, let's cast our minds back to the basic road laws, at least the ones that we hear from time to time. So, some of these laws are driving with a forged permit or driver's license is a crime that's liable on conviction to a fine of 20,000 naira or a term of 1 year imprisonment or even both. So, as a driver on Nigerian roads, generally, you're expected to drive with an original driver's license, the one that was, handed to you by the appropriate authorities. Failure to adhere to this attracts a fine of 20,000 naira and or a 1 year imprisonment term. Yeah, we also have other road laws like obstruction of vehicles and other road users. Yes, using sirens, flashlights, or beacon lights without approval from the appropriate authorities is also a punishable offense. If you've not gotten the approval, You're not expected to drive your car with a siren or flashlight or beacon lights. If you violate this, you're also liable to pay a fine of 2,000 naira or 6 months imprisonment, or you might just face both. So we have a number of road laws like this that we know, and as law abiding citizens, we're expected to, follow through. So this is just me casting our minds back to, basic road laws. Adhere to traffic signals. Do not drive without a driver's license. If you're learning how to drive, you're expected to get your learner's permit, which will cover you for a period of 3 months from the date of issuance. And you're not expected to carry any passenger except the licensed driver or instructor while you're learning how to drive, right? And then we also have other road laws like do not also drive without your trafficators, your side mirrors. All of these have to be mechanically or electrically fitted to your vehicle so that you can give the appropriate signals to other road users and you don't endanger the lives of other road users. So yes, that's just casting our minds back to some of these road laws that we may have heard or have not heard. So I'm going to hand over to Josh to, take us through the unsaid road laws, things that you've never heard and you just do them. And if you're caught, you'll probably be lost. Like, I didn't know it's a crime or and things like that. So over to you, Josh. Walk us through.
All right, thank you very much, Anita. So straight off, we'll be talking about the unsaid road laws and laws that I think it's important that we adhere to, if we're going to be driving on a Nigerian road. All right, straight off, I'll be reading off from the Federal Road Safety Commission. Yes, there was an Establishment Act of 20. Sorry for that. There was an Establishment Act of 2007, the National Road Traffic Regulation of 2012. All right, straight off, I'll be starting with just some. There are a couple of unsaid road laws. There are a couple of laws that it's important that we adhere to. But straight off from the act, it exercises it exercises the power conferred on it by the Section 5 of the Federal Road Safety Commission Establishment Act 2007. And of all the powers enabling in it, on the behalf of the Federal Road Safety Commission, makes the following regulations. Now, these are the regulations that were made due to the act. Due to the act. All right, straight off, I wanted to start with the objectives, but I feel like the objectives are quite cumbersome. So we'll just start with the registration of vehicles. Now it's important. I mean, registration of vehicle is something that cannot be overemphasized. It's important wherever you are, any part of the world. This is like paramount. All right. So registration of vehicles, probably application for registration of vehicles. Let put it that way. Now, any person applying to register a vehicle shall submit the appropriate should submit to the appropriate authorities an application for registration duly completed as in a form uh, to the specific or to the appropriate bodies. And any of all these regulations to the authorities, I beg your pardon, and a particular fee would be paid, as prescribed by by the Joint Tax Board. So a particular fee will be paid when you want to register your vehicle. Now, all these things are important for us to note. Now, that is one for registration of vehicle. There's another one for change of vehicle categories. Now, it says that and I'm reading according to the National Road Safety Commission Act of 2012, any vehicle whose category is to be changed must be assigned identification number provided it was previously registered. We have vehicles whose category is to be changed was registered in any state other than the one it is which the change category is sought. Then there's a form that must be accompanied by the certificate of clearance. That is, let me explain what that means. You want to change your the vehicle category. For example, there are different vehicle categories. We'll talk about that later. But there are different vehicle categories. You want to change a vehicle category to another one, and you are in, and you moved. For example, you moved to a different state. It simply means you have to get a particular document that would accompany you in the changing of vehicle category. In that other state. All right. So these and many more are laws and things that it's important that we pay close attention to, because this act, I think this is an act that was propounded just so it can guide road safety users, you know and then some of all these laws that are inhibited in this act are supposed to guide us. So for example, you're driving on the road now, and you flout one of all these rules or one of all these laws, and you do not know. It's it will it will say so good of you, because at the end of the day, it's important that we know all these things. And I understand that there has not been so much education and sensitization of all these laws. I mean, the federal government or the Federal Road Safety Corps is not doing so much sensitization and education of all these laws. But I think it's important for each and every one of us as individuals or good car owners to try as much as possible to know some of all these things. So yes, that's just by the way. So moving on, just another one. This is called of transfer of out of series. Out of series is your serial number. All right. So transfer of out of series or fancy number plate. There are a lot of people that use fancy number plate. That's maybe you're driving and then you see a car in front of you and they wrote let me see, Oba Elegushi, or they wrote Odogu, you know, or they wrote Obio, all those fancy number plates. If you want to do a transfer, or just to make that fancy number plate, this is what you have to do. So you may need to listen in and be sure that we know all these things. Any person who wishes to transfer out of series, that's serial number, or a fancy number plate of any vehicle to another, shall obtain a police clearance and attach same to his application to the authorities. So if you want to do a transfer, you have to make sure that you have a police clearance. That's something that cannot be overemphasized. Now, other things that we'll be talking about is change of vehicle ownership. Yes, this happens a lot. For example, you've hustled, you've worked well, and you just feel like it's high time you get a ride or a car, that would be beneficial for you in moving about, in transporting yourself to wherever places you need to be at a particular point in time. Now you decide to get a car from a Nigerian dealer, or probably not a Nigerian dealer, or someone, all right, that probably is letting go of his car at a giveaway rate, and you just want to get a car. You feel like it's high time you get a good car for yourself. Now, change of vehicle ownership is very important. A lot of people have been arrested because of this particular thing, and I feel it's a crime. Now, this is what the law or the act says. Where the ownership of a vehicle is changed, the former owner or the new owner shall give a notice of the change to the appropriate authorities, as in the Form MVA 5 of Schedule 1 of the registration of the regulation. That's the regulation I'm just reading to you. And the new owner shall pay to the authority the fine as prescribed by the Joint Tax Board. Now, the Joint Tax Board are the people that deals with the fines that are allocated to car owners, and fines that you have to pay related to your cars, or car issues, or car registrations, or car, you know, all those things that has to do with your car. That body is the one that handles things like that. Now, the former owner of the vehicle referred to in the sub regulation of this regulation should present the registration book to the authority, who shall record details of the change of ownership and hand over the registration book to the new owner. So it's not the former owner that will hand over the registration book. And if you have a car, for example, for people that do not have a car, a registration book is one of the documents that will be given to you after your registration of your car. You understand? They are part of, they are documents that will be given to you um, after the registration of your car. Now, the registration book is supposed to be submitted to an authority. So if you're getting a car from someone, maybe not a car dealership, but just getting a car from, if like someone that has a car he wants to sell it, and you're getting the car from him, you're not supposed to just collect it directly. It's supposed to go to the authorities, and the authorities will not give it to you. But nowadays, things are not as controlled as they are. So people just do things the way they should, or they would, just go to someone, ask for it. It's more or less like it's more or less like, you're not going through the right way. So you just believe that you can just do it and get away with it. It may happen to you, but at the end of the day, sometime in the future, you may have to pay for it. Because at the end of the day, a if the FRSC, and is it FRSC now, or the police, or one of these bodies decide to stop you on the road, and then claim or tell you that your car that you're using is stolen, what do you have to do? So there are a lot of cases that have been reported that they stop some people because uh, the car they were driving was stolen. Not because they stole the car, but they bought the car from someone that probably stole it, or someone that bought the car from someone that stole it. So it's very good for us to be careful if you're buying a car from someone, or you're buying a car from an old car owner. Just make sure you do the right thing, and that would help you a lot. I would open the floor to one or two people that want to say something about some of all these things I've said before I continue. So I don't just talk for a long time. Yes, I've talked for a while now, and I feel like one or two people may have one or two things to say. So I'll open the floor now for anyone that feels they have one or two things to add to this, or you feel um, there should be more sensitization done, for car education or car owners, so that we can be more in tune, more sensitized to these rules or to this law. So if you have something to say, or you want to contribute, or just say something before I continue, I'll just open the line to one or two people and see if we have anyone that wants to say something. All right. So if you want to say something, please signify right now, and then we can continue. All right then. So I think we'll just continue straight off with. Okay. Do we have anyone? Okay. So straight off, I would continue. I'll continue with the things you should know, or the rules behind some of all these things. I think I would open it back later on. So let me just continue, and I give all the things I have here. So yeah, so I've talked about change of I've talked about change of car ownership. Yeah. Now another thing is change of car color. Yeah. So I was talking with Anita the other time, and she talked about the change of car color and how it's something that um a lot of people do. A lot of people you can just wake up one morning. Your car is probably black. You just wake up one morning, and maybe you had a dream, or your best color is just red, or something just happened, and then you feel like you have to change the color of your car, and you just take it to the mechanic, or you just take it to uh, the auto repair shop, and then you just tell them, change this car to red, or just change it. Things are not done that way. You're supposed to do it the right way. I understand that things have been done this way for a long time, and I understand that. I mean, all we just talking here is not just going to change it all of a sudden. But I just feel like it's important that we know all these rules and all of all these acts, so that we can be able to make, informed decisions, if or when we have a car, or for people that also have a car, so we can also be able to make informed decisions. So you don't just make decisions because you feel like, yes, forgetting about how the situation of the country. Yes. So straight off, I'll be talking about change of car color. Yes. Where the color of a vehicle is to be changed, the owner shall apply for approval from the authority, right, to this regulation. And unless such application is approved, the owner of the vehicle shall be restrained from changing the color of the vehicle. So if they have not given you approval, you cannot change the color of your vehicle. A lot of people have changed the color of their vehicle and it's fine by them. Nobody may stop you. Police may not stop you on the road. All right. I'm not saying it's a punishable offense by the law. Police may not stop you. It's actually a punishable offense because I'll continue now. But let me say this first. Police may not stop you, all right? Because I mean, some of all this, the police may not even know all these rules or all of all these acts. But I just feel like it's important that we as citizens, we as informed citizens, make sure that we are abreast with all these rules so that we can be able to know, it's when you know your rights, you can be able to, you will not take anything. You can be able to know what to say. You can be able to know how to address situations when you know your rights, when you know the laws, when you know the rules, right? So let me continue. A new vehicle license shall be issued after payment of the fees prescribed to reflect the new color of the vehicle, and the old color license shall be withdrawn from the owner. All alterations and change in the particulars of the vehicle shall be reflected in the registration book by the appropriate authorities. Now, this is where I'm going to. Where the color of the vehicle is changed without due approval, the issue of such a vehicle will become invalid, and the owner of the vehicle has committed an offense under the regulation, all right, and shall be liable on conviction to the fine of 3,000 naira or to imprisonment of a term of 6 months or both. I know that the fine is small, so yeah, the fine is small because it's a small offense. But I mean, there's also option of imprisonment. A lot of people don't want to go to jail, or both. So there's three options. But at the same time, we just need to know all these things so we can, as well as I said before, make informed decisions. Another one I would like to talk about: replacements of vehicle engines. Yes, replacements of vehicle engines. Now, as I said before, some of all these laws are not fully what's the word now? Some of all these laws are not fully practiced in Nigeria. Yes, they are Nigerian laws. Yes, the laws were propounded by the Federal Road Safety Corps, but I believe that majority of them, some of them are not practiced to the teeth, right? And it is fair because I mean, a lot of people have not been stopped, on the road because of these um laws. But at the same time, if they wake up one morning and decide that they want to follow this thing to the teeth, it's important that we are abreast with all these things and we follow them as the case may be. All right. So replacement of vehicle engines. When there's a replacement of the engine of a registered vehicle, the owner shall notify the authority and shall pay the prescribed fee. So it simply means that there are a lot of fees that you have to pay. Only the vehicle is not paid. A lot of fees you have to pay if you want to do some things to your car. Because especially when you go to the authorities and you want to maybe do change your vehicle category or change your engine or change your color. You know, or just do something. There are a lot of things. Uh, there are a lot of fees you may have to pay. Not a lot, but a few fees that you have to pay. Now, let's talk about this one. This one happens to a lot of people. I'm just noting that the list is long, but I'm just noting some of all these things that may have happened to you or some cases that we are all used to. And this is another one: replacement of refaced or lost license. For example, you have your car license or your vehicle license was lost, or something happened to it, you misplaced it, or um, you just misplaced it, all right? So you want to replace it. Now, this is what you have to do according to this act. This is what you have to do. Subject to the sub regulation of these regulations, the appropriate authorities shall issue a new license to the holder of the current license under this part of the regulation. If the holder of the license satisfies the relevant authority, that is, the license has been defaced or mutilated, figures or particulars thereof can be ineligible. That if the license was stolen or lost, all these things can cause them to actually replace the license for you. But at the same time, you have to do well to make sure that you inform the appropriate authorities. Informing the appropriate authorities is very, very important. Now, this also gears towards change of license upon change of ownership. All right. So when there's a change of license after change of ownership, you just buy a new car from someone, maybe someone that wants to sell his car, and you need to do a change of license upon change of ownership. There's a particular thing you have to follow. Now, when the ownership of the vehicle is transferred in accordance with the regulation 12 of these regulations we've been talking about, the existing license shall be valid until the expiring date on it, where the new owner does not intend to use the vehicle for any purpose other than for which it is classified and registered. In all other cases, a refund may be made to the former owner of the vehicle for the unexpired duration of the license, and the vehicle shall be relicensed upon the payment of the prescribed fee. Where the new owner fails to comply with the regulations, the existing license shall cease to be valid. Now, let me explain what that means. You buy a car from someone, all right? Um, and you, as a new car owner, needs to, okay, for example, you buy a car from me, all right? Your name is Lagbaja, you buy a car from me. I'm selling my car to you. And you want to change your license, the license of the car. You want to change it because I'm currently with the license, the vehicle license, but you want to change it. So it simply means that if the vehicle license to the expiring date, the authorities are going to refund me a part of the money, that was used to get the license. Refund me a part of the money. On your part, you are going to pay the prescribed fee to relicense, to get a relicense for that license. If what you're doing with the vehicle is exact same thing I'm doing with the vehicle. For example, I registered the vehicle and I'm using it for personal purposes, or I'm using it for maybe a boat or Uber, and that is the exact same thing you want to do. You will just pay a relicensing fee for that, and then you just continue with the particular license change after the license has been changed. I hope we all understand some of all these things. I'll see if I can take just one more because we are past our time. I'll see if we can take just one more. The regulations are a lot, And if you just join in, this is the Federal Road Safety Code 2012, the act that was amended, the Amendment Act from 2007, I beg your pardon, to 2012. All right, so I think we can take just one more, and I'll open the phone line. Did I say open the phone lines? I would open it up to people that want to talk, and then we can. So this is the last one: the vehicle identification number. Yes, I think it's important that I just talk about this, and then yes, I open it to people that want to talk. Now, all private and commercial vehicles shall, as from the commencement of this regulation, have on them vehicle identification number plates, which shall be carried by the motor vehicle on two plates, which shall which conform to the regulation to the requirements of the regulations, and the number shall be fixed. The plate number shall be fixed, and it's important that it must be fixed. Now, in such a manner that it is not easily detachable, and it is in an upright position. They give a particular percentage, 50 degrees to such position and all that. and it's important that you all have your plate number. Now, I think this is one thing that Nigerian police or all these road safety they will stop you for this one. I think this is the only one that all of them know in their head. Some of them do not know all these laws in their head. I think this is majority of the one they know in their head. If they don't see plate number there, hey, Oga, stop. Yes, yes, yes. Where's your plate number? They just enter. They want to arrest you. They want to charge you some certain kind of money, because you do not have this. So this is one thing that you should note. When you have a vehicle, make sure it is always fixed. Make sure it is not detachable. And yeah. So, Anita, if you want to say something.
Okay. Um. So far, it has been really educating, and wow, the part that got me more is the change of color of your vehicle. I mean, when I also read that, I was shocked because I know for someone like me, I'm not a car owner yet, but I know that I'm someone that loves colors, and I won't drive a black car. So if I didn't hear this now, or if I didn't come across this earlier, I feel like I would have just woken up one day and carry my car to Fleek Oil and then just tell them that please change it from this to this. Well, it's just great to know that these are laid down rules, and I'm pretty sure that 80% of citizens have fallen would have fallen victim for this if it was something that was seriously followed up, because I don't know, I don't think I've heard this before, so it's just great. And then just to add to what you've read so far, this is for listeners that probably have a driving school or would want to start a driving school in the nearest future. So it's also important that when when a learner comes to learn how to drive, it's important for you to apply for a learner's permit and pay the prescribed fees, and it shall be entitled to him to drive a motor vehicle of the group or type stated in the permit for a period not exceeding 3 months. So if the person is coming to learn how to drive a truck, it will be stated in the learner's permit. And failure to do this, like I said earlier, would attract a fine of 20,000 naira. I mean, that's a lot, or imprisonment for 6 months, or both. I don't know. I've not learned how to drive before, but I just thought that it was just the sticker, because there was a time that my friend was learning how to drive, and she obviously didn't have a learner's permit. So we just drove to Spa and she bought this L sticker and just gum it on her vehicle and just stick it to the back of the vehicle. So it just indicates that, okay, in case she's driving some kind of way, other road users would understand that she's just a learner. And I'm pretty sure that if the police had stopped us at that time, and she didn't have a learner's permit, they would have carried me too, because it's also wrong to carry a passenger when you don't know, when you're still learning how to drive. The only person whether it's your personal car or the driving school car, the only person you're expected to carry along is the instructor or the or a licensed driver. And of course, I'm not a licensed driver, so I don't know what would have said. And yeah, this is also coming from the Federal Road Safety Commission Establishment Act 2007, National Road Traffic Regulations 2012. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So if you're going to own a driving school, please educate your students so they know that they're supposed to get a learner's permit. I think it's like a basic knowledge. And then most importantly, for the safety of every road user, this is like the most basic and the most basic. Please do not drive recklessly. A person who drives or operates a vehicle recklessly or dangerously commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine of 50,000 naira. I think that's this is life we're talking about. I guess that's why it's so expensive, because so far we've been hearing 3,000, 5,000, 2,000, but for this to be, placed at 50,000 naira or a term of 2 years imprisonment, it just goes to show how life is, how important life is. So if you're under the influence of drugs, if you're drunk, just stay away from the steering wheel. And then this law has given instances where a person should not where a person can be charged for driving recklessly. And like I stated earlier, this is maybe when you're driving under the influence of drugs, or you're driving beyond the speed limit. I think every road has a designated speed limit. And yes, this is another area where I feel drivers, Nigerian drivers, don't adhere. I mean, I travel long
Exactly.
distance. Yeah, I travel long distance, and I've seen it. I've driven a road where you obviously see this particular road. You're supposed to drive at 50 kilometer, right? And my driver is just a match speed. I'm like, ah, So these are other instances where you could be, held for driving recklessly because you're not adhering to the speed limit, and the fine for that is 50,000 naira or 2 years imprisonment or both. So all this stated in the Nigerian Traffic Regulations 2012, the amendment, like Josh has been saying, it's important that we adhere to all of this. At least let's be in the know. Let's play our part. Do you understand? Let's play our part. Let's know that okay, we know these things better than not knowing, so that when it happens, you're not surprised. It doesn't look like they're trying to rip you off your rights or they just want to extort you or something. It's all there, and it's
So
important that as road users, we follow through for our own safety and the safety of other people. We're not the only person using the road. And even if we are, I think our lives should mean something to us. So it's important, we follow these rules that Josh has listed so far and every other basic rule for a day-to-day road user.
To even reiterate what you just said, I mean, you never know when some of all these road safety workers are going to just stop you, and then they
Yeah,
will come up with some allegations that say, okay, you're not doing this, or they will ask for your papers, and they will
yeah.
ask for something, and then when they just spot once more, some of all these laws now that I mentioned, they just spot a default in it, or they just spot something that you did not do right, basically that's it for you. They will charge you humongous fees. So it's important that we know all these things. Important that as much as we know them, we also sensitize people around us, just so we can be abreast with it. A lot of people, I experienced a situation. A close friend of mine was charged about 300K, because his vehicle license expired just 1 month, just 1 month after the expiration date. He was still driving the vehicle 1 month, and they charged him 300K. 300K. So some of all these people are stationed in different places in Lagos, in Nigeria, and then we do not know which one will stop you, and you do not know what they would ask you. So it's
Now,
just important that we are abreast with all this. Yeah.
yeah, and to add to what you said now, apart from even being caught, now you just mentioned 300K, and so far so good in all of these laws that we have stated. If he probably knew, he would have known that there's no way he's supposed to pay 300,000 naira for driving without a
Exactly.
driver's license.
Exactly.
Minimum amount for that is 10,000 naira. The highest he could have paid is 20,000 naira. That's if he was even driving with a forged permit, but driving without one
Exactly.
at 10,000 naira. So if you're in the know of all these things, nobody would, rip you off your hard-earned money.
And then they know that you do not know.
Yes,
Exactly. So they are just stationed there to look at people that and say, okay, let's just try one or two people. And then when they
right.
just catch one person that defaults like this, any amount that comes to their head, that's it for you. So yeah, it's important that we know all these things. And I'm sure
Also,
we've learned one or two things from today.
yeah, to quickly add to the laws so far, there's another thing that is really rampant on the road, like this towing vehicles, yeah, when your vehicles go bad and all. All right. And most of the times when I see them tow these vehicles, they use very strong rope. Like very, very strong, all these very tight ropes to, attach it to the vehicle they intend to tow. This is also wrong, but I don't know, because the expected tool to use, to you're supposed to use a drawbar, like a sling kind of a sling type of rope, or bar type hookups. That's what.
Yeah,
Yes, to attach to the device securely. So you're supposed to use any kind of rope. You say, "Ah, shey that rope strong well. Yeah, now make we use am, make we comot this car for this road." That's also a a a crime, and not all vehicles are licensed to tow cars. So because you're driving
yeah,
your friend's Toyota Sport, let me go help my guy. You carry your Camry, and not without knowing um if it meets the requirements for you to be able to tow the vehicle. So all
they
the
are actually towing vehicles. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
they
yes,
are towing trucks. So if your car is not a towing truck, you are not supposed to tow a vehicle. You know,
exactly.
and then it could actually, if you are caught, it could actually be a punishable offense. You know, so it's important that we put that out there. So it's important that if some you may want to help by looking for a towing vehicle for the person. Yeah. So I think we'll be drawing the curtain for the Twitter space today. I'm pretty sure a couple of us have learned one or two things, if not everyone. You know, I myself have learned a couple of things that I did not know before. So it's important that if whether you're a car owner or you one day hope to be a car owner or drive a car. I mean, I pray that everyone gets there where they are financially stable and they want to do whatever they want to do. But at the same time, it's important we all are abreast with all of all these rules and regulations, so we do not fall short. We do not we are not caught unawares by some of all these road safety officials. All right. So yes, any last words from you, Anita?
Yes, please, my people, if you're a car owner, please drive safe at all times. Please, life is important. Life is sweet. Please drive safe at all times. Adhere to the rules, traffic signs, and while you're also driving, keep in mind other road users as well. Let's all stay safe out there, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Also, thank you very much to everyone that tuned in. Thank you very much to everyone that joined in. I'm sure you've learned one thing or two. Try as much as possible before you go to follow our Twitter page at that car fixer Flickro. Our Twitter page is that car fixer. You can also follow us on all social media platforms at Flickro, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We really love to get talking with you. All right, till we come your way again. This program happens. Did I say this program? But this Twitter space happens twilight. Would I say once in 2 weeks, or as the spirit leads? All right, thank you very much for joining. I am the Radio Paragon, the mic verbalizer. They call me the Radio Lover Boy. My name is Joshua Ikenye Mercury. Good night.
Good night, guys. Happy weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I remain Anita, baby. Anita Daniel. Good night, guys.
Mr. Liza. Good night.